On this week's episode, we talk about why you want to have a mentor, the huge impacts it can have on your life and career, what makes a good mentor, and better yet, where to find a mentor, and the one simple strategy in landing that perfect mentor.
The Realtor180 Podcast, where valuable conversations and industry experts collide. Let's dive in and transform your business today.
What is going on today, Cielo? How are you?
Hey, Shawn. I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. It's a good day. Yes. How are you?
Why today? Why are you doing so good just today?
Maybe because it's somebody's special day.
It's your birthday?
It's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's my birthday. Thank you. Another year younger.
Okay. So what's been good? Tell me about your birthday. What was the highlight so far?
Well, it was a really good start.
Yeah.
I got to stay in bed and drink hot coffee from a new mug that was given to me as a gift that keeps my coffee warm.
Aww.
Hot, even.
That was a little gift from your son?
Yeah.
That's
awesome. A great gift. Yeah.
Nice.
It's nice to just stay in bed and not have to get up.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that is fantastic. I know you often get up at before the crack of dawn.
Yes.
So I'm surprised to hear that you stayed in bed.
I stayed in bed until 8, which is 3 hours later than normal.
Wow.
Yeah, 8's late for me. So it's a good day. How about for you?
My day's been good. I've been running around. I had 2 client showings this morning. I think one of them is going to write an offer on a property. So that's always
congratulations.
exciting.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's always good.
Yeah. I do like to keep busy, as you know.
I know.
So let's talk about today's topic.
Yeah. So today's topic is all about
mentors,
mentorship,
being
a mentee, having a mentor,
and
everything in between. We'll talk about what it is for you, what it is for me, and some of our own experiences around being a mentor and mentee.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
I love it. Let's jump in.
All
I'm
right.
actually really excited about this topic.
Yeah, why?
Because I've always found, if you can ask like a really surgical question to the right person, it can impact your life.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Your career even. Yeah, for sure.
Your entire trajectory can shift.
Yeah.
Even 1 degree.
Yeah.
From where you were going to where you are now going. Just from one small conversation.
I totally agree. And I have several examples where even just a short piece of advice has totally made a huge difference in my career.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times people don't even know they're being a mentor. And that's kind of one of the things I want to get into.
Yeah.
Is what does it mean? Like, do you ask somebody, hey, will you be my mentor?
Do you have
will
any
you be my
mentors?
friend?
Will you be my friend? Do you want to be best friends?
Do you want to be my mentor? So let's talk about that. Like the whole, how do you even get a mentor?
Yeah, I think that's it's a great question. It's super complex.
Yeah.
How do you get a mentor? So it's funny. Yeah. I feel like I have a lot of mentors, but I don't have any mentors. And what I mean by that.
What do you mean by that?
No one walks around with a little name tag that says, I'm Shawn's mentor.
No one has that name tag?
No. And I think it's funny. And I feel like the people who are my mentors don't even know they're my mentors.
I have to agree. Same here for me. They don't know they're my mentors. In fact, if I told them right now, they'll be like, what?
Yeah.
I'm your mentor?
What do you mean?
How
because
am I
I feel like it's a relationship.
It is.
And I feel like there's so much back and forth.
Yeah.
That it's not, in my mind, when I think of mentor, it feels very one-sided. Mm-hmm. But in the reality and application, it's very collaborative. It's conversational.
Yeah.
So let's kind of unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
Before we get there, I think I want to just talk about one of the mistakes that I've seen is the acquisition of a mentor.
The acquisition of a mentor
is the mentor is someone who's successful
in the thing that you're trying to do.
Correct.
Right.
They're usually busy.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a lot of time. They typically value their time. And so you sitting down and sucking up an hour of their time.
That is a lot.
They're not going to do it.
They're not. It is hard.
I get so many emails and phone calls a week. I mean, not people wanting to be mentored, but people who are trying to sell me things and just they're trying to take a piece of my time that you don't want to give it up. So I think it's, backing up, you want to start it as a relationship.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's really all it is. It's just this relationship where you go to somebody and it's just honestly asking advice. That's all it is. There's nothing, I don't think there's really anything more to it. It's not like, you have this contract or anything like that between mentor or mentee. It's nothing, to me anyway, it's nothing that formal.
So let's talk about it. Like, give me an example of one of your mentors and how, take us to the first day, the first interaction. Like, how did you get there? How did they become your mentor?
Yeah. So I'll have to go back to my early career as a designer, because I think this is a really good example of when I first had a mentor. And that one was kind of a natural setup because he was at that time my creative director. But, I've had many creative directors that were not my mentors. So this person was in particular, I saw as a really good mentor. And I feel like some of the advice, in fact, one key piece of advice that he has given me has carried me, throughout my whole career with everything actually in general. And I don't think he knows that he's had this much impact on my career.
Interesting.
Yeah. But the way he posed his advice to me was in a way where he just shared his experience with me and what he found to have worked for him in his career. And in fact, he's gone really, really far with his career. And it's like, he's, I think, the VP of design for Ralph Lauren.
Not too shabby.
Not shabby at all.
Right.
So he's done really, really well. So I think in my mind, he was the very first mentor that I had. Because, straight out of college, I was this designer. I had no idea what I was doing. And he just gave me great advice in terms of, his own experience and, what he thought would be good ways to approach design.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you still stay in touch and communicate?
No. We both moved on to different companies and we haven't kept in touch. But it's funny, as myself being, a senior creative person, I've found that I've given some of the same advice. I've passed on his advice to other younger creators.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's very much Jedi-like, like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Really?
And then,
did we just go?
Yeah, we went
Star
to Star
Wars.
Wars. Yeah, Obi-Wan. I know you're not like a huge Star Wars person, but for those millions of people
before
out
we
there,
get hate mail on that.
Shawn's not
I love
into
the OG Star Wars.
Okay, fine.
But then all of the new follow-up stuff, it's gotten so complex that it's lost me. But I love the original.
Okay,
stuff.
so Obi-Wan's relationship
Don't roll me under the bus.
with Luke Skywalker. So to me, that is great mentorship right there.
Yeah.
Right. And then to go into the new Star Wars, I don't know if you saw this one, but I know we're totally tangenting, but this is so related. Luke Skywalker to Rey, which is the new Jedi, right? And she kind of sought him out. Anyway, so I'm talking about this because it's advice that gets passed on from Jedi to Jedi, and to relate it back to me, it's from, creative person to creative person. It just gets passed down.
Yeah. And sound rules within an industry, they don't really tend to change.
That's right.
Like they're kind of, it's like almost like the Bible of sales, like the Bible of, there's like certain base things that just are industry standards.
Yeah. Yeah. And and I'd love to share the one piece of advice that I was given that I have also passed down. And I think this is relevant for a lot of people, but so I was a very young, new, naive designer back then. And what,
so you're 21 now because you just had a birthday.
Because I'm 21 now and I was 15. Right. No, so it's straight out of college. It was the first job I had as a designer.
Yeah.
And I remember we presented our designs to LVMH. So everyone knows. So they were a client of ours. So I was consulting and my design wasn't picked, you know? And so my creative director comes to me and he sees I'm super bummed because, ego's hurt and so on. He's like, it's not that your design was bad. It was actually, I thought, one of the better ones. But what happened there was you weren't able to sell it. you weren't able to communicate and talk to why it was a better design for them. It's like, so, you know, as you go forward, it's not about learning to be a good designer because you're already there. It's learning to be a better communicator and being able to sell your design, sell your idea.
Wow.
And I think that has carried me forward because to me, at that point, I was like, I need to be a better designer, I need to be a better designer. But honestly, you know, you can only grow so much. I mean, and it was that I need to better communicate my design and why I did it. I designed the way. Yeah, it's carried me so far. And I've passed that down to like junior designers and other creators as well. You have to be able to sell what you've created.
And it's funny, I mean, because I'm in sales, and it's so true. If you can't communicate and articulate and share and collaborate with the other person, they won't see the value.
Yep.
And they pass it up, whatever it may be.
Yeah, exactly. We might have a good product, you know.
You may have the best product.
Exactly.
In your case, you had the better design.
Yeah, and if you can't sell it,
it's dead.
It's dead in the water.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, which is really sad. I mean, if we go to examples in history, technology, even if we go to the Betamax versus VHS, remember those back in the days? Okay.
Yeah.
I did watch movies on VHS.
And so you know what's really funny is like probably you just lost 3/4 of the audience. Good job.
What? What the heck is a VHS?
Beta.
Betamax. What the hell is a Betamax?
Do you actually know why? So Betamax and VHS were essentially the two cassette types for playing movies at the time, and one of them took off and one of them didn't. Do you actually know why one of them stuck and the other one didn't?
Well, okay, I thought we were getting to like the reason I brought it up. First, put a pin in that one. I brought it up because from what I remember or whatever, what I've been told was one did better because of marketing. Wasn't that right?
Sort of.
They were able to sell the idea better, although the other one was better technology, supposedly.
So, and I didn't verify this. I don't know if it's true, but apparently one specific industry used VHS.
Oh.
And it took off because of it.
Is that right? So that just makes my point not relevant.
Do you know the industry?
I can guess.
The adult industry.
Yeah, the adult industry.
So let's go back to mentors. And let's actually go back to time. And I do this now. So let's say I have a struggle in my business or I have a struggle with marketing and I really want to find the surgeon who has that answer.
Yeah.
So I need to, me personally, I need to narrow it down until I can come up with a really good question.
Yeah.
To have the answer for.
Yeah.
So I need the question.
Yeah.
And bad questions get bad answers.
Yeah, that's true.
Like super general questions get super general answers. So the more specific your question is,
the better advice and answer you'll get.
the better answer you're going to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I found that this works amazing, just doing this one simple thing, is find the person who potentially is going to have that answer.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure it's a really good, really refined question. As simple as you can make it.
Okay.
And depending on the way you're communicating with them.
Yeah.
Let's say you have established a base level of relationship and you have their email.
Yep.
This works magically almost every time.
Okay.
I say, I know you're super busy.
Right. It's always helpful to say that.
A bullet point answer would suffice.
Yeah.
So you're getting them off the hook.
Yep.
Like, I don't want a paragraph. I don't need a book. You don't need a long response. So you're giving them an exit. Mm-hmm. And then you say, my question is blank, blank, blank.
Right.
Thanks so much.
I agree. That definitely works.
What's fascinating about that is I've gotten responses in minutes.
Yeah.
From super busy, high-level people that I would not expect the answer.
Yeah.
Now, here's the magical part.
Yeah.
Is to go back to the time.
We all know that at the heart of a realtor's business is the referral. My question to you is, are you proactively building out your trusted referral network? My goal is to connect our community with top performing agents across the country. To join our exclusive community, visit www.Realtor180.com and click the Join Our Network tab to connect.
People do not want their time wasted.
Yep.
they do not want, when the mentor sends the answer, they do not want it to land in a black hole.
Yeah.
And nothing is going to frustrate somebody more than you saying, thanks for the advice. I didn't take it. I did this instead.
Oh my God. I have a great story about that. Yes.
Terrible.
It is terrible.
So here's my rule is once you get the advice, immediately
take it
and try it, implement it, do whatever you have to and get it into play as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And then in a timely manner, within a week or two,
say thank you.
No.
And say that you did it.
Say in equally short, couple sentences, bullet points, I implemented and this is my result.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Gosh. I have stories about those 2 points. Yes.
And now on the other side, they feel good.
Oh yeah,
you helped
for sure.
them, and they now know you did not waste their time.
Yep.
And so now the second time when you come back with a question,
they're more willing to help you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And you're now starting to mature a relationship.
Yeah. Totally.
But if you write, hypothetically, a 4-paragraph question, oh my God, they're not going to answer.
I don't answer those. Yeah.
They're going to delete. They they don't want to be a part of that.
I don't delete it, but.
And it's like, hey, thanks so much. Like, here's like, read this book, or like, they're going to give you a blow off answer. Mm-hmm. So, and I've done this. So I'm in real estate, and I mean, some of the most prolific agents in my my region, my area, I'm friends with, and I can call on a moment's notice and say, hey, listen, I have this question,
right?
And they'll give me an immediate answer, and that's such a valuable resource. I think in this day and time, it's less about who has the information, but who has the knowledge of who has that information.
That's also key. Yeah. So to go back to, I want to share a couple of stories because, we can just, I think it's going to hit you when you hear an example. So when you talked about ask something that's really quick, you say, hey, I know you're really busy, and then get that answer and then implement what was given to you. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's happened both ways. So one is, I've had somebody come ask me, so I teach iPhone videography, and everybody knows that's kind of my specialty. So I have students or people that just find me online, ask me questions. So one person asked, hey, I know this is, kind of your specialty. What mic should I get? Right? So I recommend a mic. And in fact, I recommend 2 mics. And he approached it really well. I know you're really busy, just quick answer, So I was like, okay, it's, if on a budget, this mic, if you have more money, it's this mic.
Good answer.
Right?
Yeah,
so,
you gave him 2. Yeah, that's actually a good answer.
That's usually like, I don't know how much money you have, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, cool. Thank you.
Are these good mics? I feel self-conscious now. Continue. I don't need
so he take and here's where I'm just like, I am not going to help you out again, dude. So he takes his, okay, thank you. And then he comes back. He's like, well, actually, I ended up like, one, you didn't have to come back. Okay. Like I do with it what you will. But he comes back and says, I didn't get those mic. I got something else. I was like, well, that's fine. Like I whatever. It's like, I personally, I'm not like hurt, but it's kind of like,
it's not hurt, but let me ask you a question.
It's like, why did you come to me if you like were able to get it from someone like, fine, like, it's not valuing my knowledge. Like I've tried all this stuff out, guy, but whatever, that's fine. Like enjoy your mic.
So if he came back hypothetically and said, hey, what kind of gimbal should I buy?
I probably wouldn't be like, dude, you're not gonna listen to me. Like go Google it.
And that's case in point. Like that's my point. Is if you're not gonna value your mentor's experience, knowledge, and wisdom.
So why?
And you're not going to put it on a pedestal and honor it.
Right.
Don't ask them.
Yeah.
Like they're not your mentor. Don't ask them the question.
Yeah. On the flip side, can I share a more positive
don't.
example?
Of course, please.
So I have this student that I taught at Stanford, right? And she knows I'm super busy. So she's come to me with just simple questions like, I'm trying to do this. I think she's like, what app should I use for it? Like so she's trying to fix her audio, right? Yeah. So I recommend it. she goes and tries it out. She comes back and says, that was really great. I'd love to share with you what I recorded. Really thankful for your advice.
Yeah.
And I watched it and I was like, oh, that's really amazing. So that made me respond back. It's like, that turned out really great, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And then she came back with just another question following up, like what could have been better. And I was like, this, and then now it's become a full on relationship. I'm helping her with her documentary, with her family documentary.
That's amazing.
And it's become like, I feel a little bit, I don't know the word, responsible, or like I care about her project now because I feel like I'm a little bit invested in it because I've kind of helped her along the way.
Agreed. And I think you shared something just really, there was a valuable nugget in there, is it's turned into a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not like you just walk up to a stranger and be like, you are my best friend.
You be my mentor.
Like, it doesn't work like that. It's a process.
It is. It's
and
like
but it's like find that person
at a time. Yeah.
who's elite. And then when they give you the gift of that answer, the gift, truly honor that gift. And I think that's the part where your example 1 failed and example 2 excelled. Yeah. And there's now a difference. Like in that story, like I almost urge people to go back and rewind and listen to both stories again. Yeah. Like you're saying, like, I feel a part of it. I feel like responsible. And now you want her to succeed. Like,
like I'm vested in her success.
Her champion. Yeah. Like that's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, it goes a long way if you kind of approach it and value the time that you're asking for from the mentor. Yeah. So are you a mentor, Shawn? Let me ask you. Do you think you are secretly someone out there thinking of you as a mentor?
There's actually a couple people who,
I don't think just a couple. I think, if outside of real estate, I think in life, you've done a lot of things where I know you're there for a lot of kids that you used to teach. Can I say that? And you still have a relationship with them, even now that they're grown. I definitely think a lot of people see you as a mentor.
Yeah, and that was when you asked me. That's where my brain automatically defaulted. When I taught Kung Fu. Yeah. Like at the time, those kids were like 6, 7, 8 years old. They were little kids, and now they're in college, which is crazy. Makes me feel so
You're not old.
But it's funny because I text them all the time, like these guys, and I'm always harassing them. I'm like, read this book. Yeah. I don't have time. Yes, you do. Wake up earlier. Like, and it's out of pure love. Like, I really want these people. Like, I feel.
Yeah, you like, care about.
I really care.
How they turn out.
Yeah, and when I was starting my real estate business, I turned my dad
into your mentor.
Into a mentor, and he didn't even know it. But I wound up. So my dad ran a manufacturing factory in Connecticut, and he started it. Oh gosh, in like the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. I think that was at the time his third company, and they manufactured surgical staples. Yeah. And he more recently sold the company, and now that he's retired, you can just tell he's like living in Florida, and he's a little bit bored. Yes. So I asked him one day, I was like, hey, do you mind if we set up a phone call on Fridays for 30 minutes?
Yeah, I remember when you started.
I want to just pick your brain.
Yeah.
And I would just ask him for 30 minutes. I would pick a topic, and he would just ramble, and it was amazing. I got so many valuable little secrets of. I remember one of the questions was, tell me about the first 3 people you hired and why. Yeah. And he just talked. Yeah. And I like sat there with a notepad and just wrote and wrote and wrote. Mm-hmm. And I implemented what he shared when I
hired your own. Right.
And when I started hiring, and then like, tell me about this. And then, like, tell me about, like, how did you strategically grow the business, or how did you position to sell it? And what did you do? What were your pitfalls? Right. And just,
is so helpful.
And granted, I mean, I had obviously a standing relationship with him, so it was a little bit easier to say, hey. But I did say, when we set the parameters of the call, I said, I don't want to talk about family. I don't want to talk about like my childhood or growing up.
Yeah.
Like we're not father son. We're two business people.
Yeah.
And I want to glean everything I can from
Yeah.
your experiences.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think the fact that you have a dad that was an entrepreneur to turn to, I mean, you have such a great resource that's right there.
Yeah.
And I love that you did set boundaries around that conversation and made it a formal business mentor-mentee relationship, because it's so easy to, for the parent to come out and like step in, which would probably give different advice.
And I completely agree. And it was really fascinating because through that experience, the father-son relationship morphed, and it was just two people having a conversation about business. And the way and the things that he shared were just amazing nuggets that I don't think I would have had access to otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's interesting because listening to your story about this woman who's filming the documentary, on the flip side, his wife, my stepmother, when they came and visit, we were at dinner, and she said, "It's such a wonderful gift that you've given your dad of him being able to share this knowledge with you."
Oh, yeah.
And
that's sweet.
it goes both ways.
Right.
And I think
it does feel good to be a mentor. You feel needed. You feel like your life experiences, you're able to teach, share with other people what you've learned so that they don't go through the same thing, or as they're going through it, they kind of know what to expect. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a really fascinating quote as well from Tony Robbins, and it's, relationships aren't a place to go and get something.
Yeah.
Relationships are a place to go and give.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
if you look at the mentorship, if you look at that as a place for you, the mentee, to go and give a gift, and the gift is implementing and using and valuing and honoring the mentor's advice, that it works for everybody.
Yes.
And again, if you're not going to take their advice, and I don't mean to just take it blindly and
you have to, you do. But
like vet them. And if they're fully qualified to help you in that category, then you should have a little bit of trust and faith that they're going to guide you in the right direction. Yeah. And if you think they're not, they're probably not the best mentor. Right.
Exactly. I think that brings up a good point, is selecting your mentor wisely. Because you obviously you don't want to waste their time. You do want to implement what they said. So you have to pick somebody that has done what you are trying to do and that you do respect. So you don't want to waste someone's time where it's someone that you really kind of maybe even like admire what they've done. Yeah. And so that way it'll work out for you. You're not wasting their time or your time. And it's something that's valuable to both of you. But I think there have been times where, for example, I have a friend who asked somebody to be their mentor, which at first I was like, that's awkward, but whatever. And I feel like the relationship didn't work out because he never listened to the advice that was given to him. I was like, you're just wasting that guy's time. And so I think he wasn't self-aware enough in terms of where he really wanted to head, because I think he thought he wanted to go that route. And, all the advice he was getting was kind of clashing with where he actually really wanted to go. So he wasn't implementing the advice he's being given. So I think you have to be self-aware enough to first really know where you're trying to head. And like you said earlier, have a very specific question to the one aspect that you're trying to do in your own life or career before you seek out your mentor.
And I've seen this play out as well, and you essentially just explained this or shared this, is if you're asking a question to reinforce a decision that you've already made in your mind, but you're just not admitting,
you're just looking for validation.
That's the wrong question to be asking, and you shouldn't be wasting that question on the mentor.
I think I might have done that too. Yeah. No.
I've done it too.
Yeah,
or you kind of pepper, a handful of people to take inventory, and that's the wrong question to be firing out.
Yeah. Yes.
In general questions like, hey, what should I do with my life? You're going to get like follow your passion. You're just going to get such a generic, like buckshot answer.
Yes.
It's not going to give you any true trajectory.
Yes.
But how can I find the direction of my life?
Right.
Like, informational interviews. Go talk to different people in different industries.
Yeah.
And sometimes a mentor doesn't necessarily have the answer.
Nor do they sometimes give you the answer that you want to hear.
Sometimes they'll just direct you to the right place to find that answer.
Or just a way to think about it, a way to frame your decision. And I feel like that's kind of the best mentor, somebody that doesn't necessarily tell you this is what you need to do, or even just share their experience, but kind of what, how they decided for themselves and how you should decide for yourself.
Correct.
Whatever it is. I know we're being super vague, but so for example, my cousin, I don't think she knows my mentor. She's my mentor, but she's a therapist. And I will often ask her.
I was so nervous when I met her because I knew she was a therapist, and I was like,
she's always analyzing me. And sometimes I'm like, I want you to be my cousin right now and not my therapist, but whatever. Anyway, but so sometimes I'll ask her, just like, what should I do? Just tell me, someone, please tell me, just give me, but she never does, which sometimes is like so aggravating. It's just tell me what I should do. What would you do? And she doesn't tell me what she would do. She doesn't tell me what I should do, but she says, here are a few things you should think about. And she always
that's a good mentor.
Yeah. She always brings it back to what are your values? Like what is important to you? And it kind of frames how I should decide. And I think that is incredibly powerful. So it helps me think better and helps me decide better. She's not giving me a decision.
I think
which is what I'm asking for.
I think that's beautifully elegant. As well.
Yeah.
But she's also trained. Like
she's also trained.
Like she's trained to know to not just give out an answer.
It's true. But a lot of mentors are just naturally that way. Even though they weren't trained, they kind of are able to know that I'm not going to give you a prescriptive answer.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. Depends on the question, of course.
It's true. Sometimes you just do want an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like which mic?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a very binary,
I don't know.
Which is better, A or B? Like they're gonna obviously give, but like, what should I do with my life? It's like, that's gonna be a big. It's a big question. It's gonna get a big answer.
Yeah.
It's so. I just love this. Like I think it's so fascinating. And then with regards to mentorship and, just being around people who are specialists. I just actually I downloaded Audible, which I probably shouldn't have said their name because they're not paying me to say it. But
this is not sponsored by Audible.
This is not sponsored. So one trick, tip, and hack is I listen to audiobooks at like
5x.
Yeah, super fast. Usually 2 times speed.
As an aside, don't you feel like, because I also do the same thing, listen 2x. Sometimes 2x is not fast enough.
Sometimes. Yeah, because your brain can totally pick it up.
Yeah.
But what's really fascinating is if you mentally drift, like you lose a ton of information.
Yeah.
Like
that's a lot. That's past. Yeah.
Like if you miss 30 seconds, like
that's a lot.
You missed a minute.
At
so
2x.
It's at 2x. It's like just railing through. But so anytime I'm in my car, the radio is not on. I'm trying to spend time with my mentors, and my mentors are
the books that you read.
Like
yes. Oh my gosh, so powerful. Yes.
I can't even imagine how many books.
Yeah.
I can go through my I can have my bookkeeper pull up a list of how many books that I purchased last year. Yeah. It's a ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
I'm reading Ray Dalio's book, Principles.
That's right. Yeah.
Outstanding. Mm-hmm. I just listened to Grant Cardone's 10X, just finished it.
Yeah.
And now I'm listening to Fanatical Prospecting.
Nice.
And I always think like there's a nugget out there.
Yeah.
And these guys don't even know they're my mentors.
Yeah. No, I think books are incredibly powerful. And it is a good way to think of it as it's mentorship for sure.
100%. And I always think of my car as like, that's my university. And if I'm in it,
That's
either
funny.
prospecting, I'm making phone calls,
or you're learning.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
But it's not time to like dilly dally. Sometimes I'll listen to music.
Yeah.
Usually if I'm going to a listing appointment and I need to pump myself up.
Oh yeah. What do you listen to pump yourself up?
What do I listen to?
Pitbull.
Sometimes
from the Tony. Okay, we both went to Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
UPW.
Unleash the Power Within.
Correct.
And Pitbull was there, and so I see. Like, I'm not joking. I also listen to Pitbull because it reminds me he was there at UPW.
Reminds you of it. Yeah,
and I get that same feeling back.
If you go to Spotify, there's actually a UPW soundtrack.
Oh, I have
or a playlist.
I have it.
So yeah, I'll listen to that. I listen to Jay-Z.
Of course,
I think it's like he has a lot of just rags to riches, like hustler mentality in his songs, and it pumps me up. So if I have to show up for an appointment or show up for a networking event, or I'm doing an event, like I'm here to deliver and serve, so I need to put myself on that level. So like sometimes my point is to all of that ramble is a mentor isn't necessarily somebody who just sits there with a name tag that says I'm Shawn's mentor. Yeah. But they're influencing my DNA, the way that I think and approach things. And going back and referencing books, or somebody that I mentor, Cody, who's in his 20s, he asked me a question the other day and I was like, read this book. Yeah. Like, I know the answer and I can give you the answer, but I want you to have an experience of figuring it out on your own. And, I knew this book would give it to him.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you read the book.
I bug him almost every other day.
Did you finish it?
Like,
how about now?
Yeah. How about now? Now? It's funny. My thumbs are moving. It's like funny. Me texting him.
How about now? No, I have to say books have made some of the biggest impacts in how I think. And I do see the writers of those books as my mentors. So for example, the book I am halfway through reading right now, which actually you're the one that said you were going to read it and you're not even reading it, but that's fine. The Artist's Way. God, I forgot her name. I'll have to look it up. The Artist's Way.
I said I would read it. I don't even remember this. Where was I?
Well, clearly. Well, you mentioned someone from a podcast you were listening to, or maybe a YouTube video you're watching, mentioned the book, The Artist's Way, and then you told me I should read it.
Oh, The Artist's Way.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard Artist's Way.
Artist's Way.
Okay. I started to read it.
But it's too artisty. Okay, well, whatever. Let's not talk about. Okay, so talk about finding the right mentor. Clearly, this book is not the right mentor for you.
It's not my right mentor. And here's the other problem that I have, is I feel like once I get, if I feel like a book is redundant or they're repeating the same thing, I just implement that one thing and I don't finish the book.
So you thought it was redundant.
I'm not saying that. I said 4 books.
So like I said, look, Shawn and I are very different, right? I mean, I'm more on the creator side. And then Shawn's, what are you? You're like kind of the sales. He's kind of the sales guy, right? And I'm the creator. So to me, it resonated with me. It is resonating with me. So it was the right mentor for me.
You're the artist.
Yeah. And I found it incredibly helpful. I feel like I reconnected with who I am as a creator. And I just love this book. It's been incredibly helpful for me, and just owning being a creative, and the artist in me. Because I don't know if you guys have listened to previous episodes, but last year I've kind of shut down, locked away under the stairway closet, my creator. I was like, girl, step aside.
But did you have a why?
I had a why, because I was like, I need to focus on being an entrepreneur and really get that part of the business running. It's kind of like the same thing, like designer in me, the creator in me, like that is just easy to be that all the time. But sometimes that needs to step aside. So last year I kind of was not creating at all. But I feel like, okay, I got that part under control. And then reading this book just kind of, brought her outside of the closet and like into the sunshine, and she's back. And now I'm able to integrate these 2 parts of myself very nicely, actually.
Have you read The E-Myth?
Yes. Well, no, part of it. See?
Oh, case in point.
So this book, it was resonating and not a good mentor book for me, I guess. But you keep telling me I should read it.
I think it's a really good book. But what's interesting about The Entrepreneur, and I highly recommend people reading it, is as you're building a business, like as you're a solopreneur and you're kind of moving it up to actually build it into something, you have to take on. There's 3 different personalities it describes.
Yeah.
And you have to basically turn on and off these different personalities
parts.
in order to build that part of the business at that time.
Yes.
And that's what you essentially did and had to do to get, I know it was all your video production and to get the website all built and have the platform in which people can actually purchase the classes.
And all of that. Yeah. Yeah. So I had to get that, and I had to just kind of pause the creating. Yeah.
So we're actually rounding the corner. We're 40 minutes in.
Yeah. I could go on and on. I just love the advice that I've gotten from all the writers out there and my own personal mentors. And I think if I didn't have any of them, I wouldn't be where I am now. I would be lost and flailing and not knowing which direction to go. So I'm incredibly thankful that there are people before me that have gone the path kind of that I want to go for different parts. And I can, turn to them and figure out, okay, when you were here, what did you do and how did it go? And it's just been incredibly helpful. And I think if you're out there and you are not seeking mentorship, not reading books, and you're feeling lost, the one thing I can recommend is find a personal mentor, physical, somebody, or go read a book written by someone who is doing what you are trying to do.
I completely agree. And we're living in such an awesome period in time where you can spend time with any mentor you want.
Yeah.
Literally anywhere.
Yeah.
Because the accessibility of books has never been easier.
Yeah.
The accessibility of YouTube, social media, it's never been easier to be around those people producing the things that you want to do. Like it's just never been an easier time.
Yeah.
What we're doing here, being filmed and audio, like 50 years ago,
this is not even possible.
Not even possible.
It was only, whoever was near you, that's kind of, you're limited in terms of who your mentors were. So we're incredibly lucky.
We are.
Yes.
So, I think at the end of the day is be humble.
Yes.
Know that somebody else has a piece of knowledge that you need, and be kind of strategic about how you go about it, and don't expect a mentor. Nurture the relationship, and then the mentorship will evolve out of that.
What are your takeaways, Shawn, around mentorship? Like if you, as a mentor, as a mentee, I kind of gave mine. Like I feel like I wouldn't have been here. Something I needed.
Oh, I 100% would not be where I'm at.
Yeah.
In many, many aspects of my life, had I not had the advice of a mentor or just some sort of guidance somewhere along the way of somebody who knew the path that I couldn't see.
That's a good way to say it. Knew the path that you couldn't see.
It is. And my default setting is just read a book, like audiobook.
That's out there.
Podcasts.
All right, quickly name 3 books
just
that have been incredibly helpful as mentors for you.
I think the first book that really changed the trajectory of my life was Miyamoto Musashi's Book of 5 Rings.
That's a good one.
I know I've mentioned
you mentioned that one. Yep.
That one's incredibly, it's really powerful.
Okay.
And there's so many really good nuggets in it. I have this really bad habit of always just saying whatever book I'm reading, it's my favorite book.
I know, right? Because you're just so lost in it, and it's
so
like, it's fresh in your mind.
Ray Dalio's Principles.
It's
nice. Really good.
Nice.
I'm only about halfway through.
Yeah.
But it's just really valuable. He offers really great knowledge in the book. And then I would say the one book that I've given away as a gift more than any other book by tenfold is Paul Arden's It's Not How Good You Are, It's How Good You Want to Be.
Yeah,
And it's just such a good
there you go.
little, it's inspirational. And each page is just, it's so uplifting and powerful. I have a copy. Actually, I keep 2 copies at my desk at the office.
Is that right? Oh, wow.
And then anytime somebody's like, you can kind of tell when they need it.
Yeah.
I just
here you go.
Write a little note like, I hope this finds a good home. Here you go.
There you go. That's good one. Those are good books.
Yeah. Those are my top 3. How about you? What are your top 3? Then we'll wrap this up.
Similar to you, I think the book I'm reading right now, I think if you're a creator or an artist, The Artist's Way is one that will be on, you'll probably reread it a couple of times.
Nice.
Another one that I made a huge impact on me, and that I think it's why I really got into meditation. I don't know why. Eckhart Tolle's book, Good Earth. That's a really good one. It's about being present. Just from a spiritual standpoint, that was very impactful on my life. I can't think of a third one.
The Insider's Guide to Home Buying.
Your book.
Shameless plug.
Yes, that one. Of course. That's on my bookshelf. Good plug.
That was not planned.
I can't think of a third one. But I would say those 2.
Okay.
Very, very good.
That's totally fair. Awesome.
All right,
well,
let's wrap this up.
Thank you guys for joining us today.
Yeah, I hope you found that incredibly helpful.
This was a really, this was just a really fun episode. I feel like there were so many good little nuggets in there.
Yes, absolutely. Hope I enjoyed that. I could keep talking about this forever.
Yeah. Well, and again, happy birthday, Cielo.
Thanks, Shawn.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Realtor 180, where industry experts elevate your business. Be sure to subscribe and share this episode with a friend. Until next time, keep thriving.